Just how deranged is this man? To imprison him, the authorities spent $1 billion building a glass cell capable of withstanding a nuclear blast. Yet, whenever he approached the glass, the guards would still tense up, trembling uncontrollably. Today, the man decided to take a walk. He pressed his palm against the glass, creating a vacuum an instant before the guards opened fire. The next moment, the nuclear-proof glass shattered into a gaping hole. What followed was a nightmare for the two guards. Earlier, in a classroom, the teacher suddenly began trembling violently, and not just him. Every student in the class felt the same eerie sense of dread. Everyone, that is, except one boy who was still dozing off, Van Mabaki, the son of the strongest creature on Earth. Just then, a limited edition Rolls-Royce pulled up at the school gate. An old man stepped out, Tokugawa Mitsuyoshi, the mastermind behind Tokyo's underground fighting arena. The principal rushed to greet him with flattering bows, unaware that Tokugawa was actually there to see the recently transferred underachiever, Baki. When Tokugawa saw Baki, he put on an ingratiating smile. Baki, however, looked utterly unimpressed. Smiling faintly, Tokugawa took out a block of TNT powerful enough to level the entire school. Its key component was nitroglycerin. Back in the early 19th century, nitroglycerin was an unstable liquid that couldn't be solidified until one day, when all the nitroglycerin in the world suddenly crystallized into a solid. People called this phenomenon synchronicity. Baki listened blankly. But what Tokugawa said next shocked him to the core. A few days ago, this synchronicity had occurred again. In an offshore prison in the United States, a man standing 2.5 meters tall was bound tightly and escorted to the execution ground. Before the execution, the priest asked him if he had any last words. Dorian simply smiled and said he wanted to taste death. The priest didn't waste another word and ordered the execution to begin. As the mechanism triggered, Dorian was hoisted into the air. After a few struggles, he went completely still. The guards quickly called for a medical examiner. But just as the examiner began the inspection, something terrifying happened. Dorian, who should have been dead, suddenly snapped his eyes open. In the next second, he kicked out violently, taking down two guards instantly. Everyone present was scared out of their wits. Dorian then strained against his restraints, bursting them apart and revealing his terrifying muscular physique. When guards outside reopened the cell door, the scene before them made them freeze in terror. All the guards and the examiner had been impaled like kebabs. Dorian was long gone. Prison alarms blared immediately. Dorian was already swimming toward Tokyo. Meanwhile, in the UK's Kakao prison, death row inmate Doyle was about to be executed by electric chair. At the warden's command, an assistant flipped the switch. A powerful electric current surged through Doyle's body. He convulsed, foamed at the mouth, and smoke rose from his head. Within 3 seconds, he seemed completely lifeless. But as the confident warden stepped forward to check, something unbelievable happened. Not only was Doyle not dead, he broke free of his restraints and appeared behind the two guards in an instant. Before they could even react, both guards met their maker. Seeing the situation spiral out of control, the warden drew his gun and aimed at Doyle. But the moment he pulled the trigger, Doyle threw a punch that struck the warden square in the face. After effortlessly dealing with the guards, Doyle hijacked a plane and headed for Tokyo. The last man was nothing like the other death row prisoners. He was short in stature, but the most dangerous of the 5. Ryuko Yanagi was imprisoned in a glass cell designed to withstand nuclear bombs, but to him, it was no different from ordinary glass. With a vacuum-generating palm strike, he shattered the glass, moved behind a guard, and blew softly into his ear. Instantly, an unknown substance sprayed out of the guard's ear. Driven by synchronicity, the 5 death row convicts were all heading to Tokyo with one shared goal: to challenge the strongest teenager on Earth, Baki.